Hey everybody, so here we are again with a Blood Rage unboxing, I guess. I talked to my friend and he said apparently, people are interested, even though there are tons of Blood Rage unboxing videos from years ago, 2 years ago. He said, yeah, people still like it, and I guess this is, again, everything. So I'm gonna do this in stages because I'm of course recording with one hand and it's really hard to just unbox with one hand only. So I'll show one set and then we'll just kind of fade in and fade out to all the different ones. So here goes. You take the lid off. On the inside you have the instruction book, which is a very nice high quality paper. All of these of course are available as PDF files online. So I didn't really even read this off the actual instruction page. I just read and memorized it on the PDF online. So we'll put that here. And then of course you have the various tokens. So this is the Ragnarok tokens, and then these are the clan tokens, right? To sort of keep track of your rage and your stats and horns. I think this is the first player token, the saga token, and then this is probably the doom token right here. It's the doom token. And then you have all of the pillage tokens, of which this one is Gurdrasil. All right. And then the back, of course, shows you the names of the various provinces. And then here's the horns, the axes, the rage, glory, Gurdrasil, saga, doom, horn. So I think for the Kickstarters, there's actually 3D versions of all of these guys, as well as these guys. But the pillage tokens and the Ragnarok tokens are still the same. It's come to my attention that there are actually custom 3D versions of the pillage tokens, which look really cool. But I'm not sure if they're still available. Some guy did some really nice 3D prints. So here is the Valhalla and the clan sheets, all still shrink wrapped. So put that over here. And then this is the cards right here, still shrink wrapped. Take that off. Here it is. At the bottom here are the little game pieces. Of course, here you have the wolf, the serpent, the raven, and the bear. In the 5th player expansion, you'll have the green ram token. This is what you put on the side of the game board to keep track of the glory points. These are the bases that you'll be snapping your miniatures on. And then here are the miniatures. So you have the first layer, which is the sea serpent and the troll. Very nice. And then you have the fire giant and the ice giant as a pair. And then here you have the smaller monsters, the dwarf chieftain, the soldier of hell, and the dark elf. Here are your 4 ships. This is the Valkyrie, the Volor witch right here. Here are clan leaders. And then these, of course, are the 4 warriors from each clan. Okay. So that's one set. And over here's the other set. Again, 4 of each type. 4 of each type. The leaders and the ravens are pretty tricky because they have these long weapons, the long spears, which often do come bent. You can see actually some pretty amazing detail in there. It's really nice, really nice. Yeah, the right paint job can really turn these into amazing things. Okay, here we go. And again, weapons a little bit bent. I mean, you can obviously use the hair blower trick or the boiling water trick to get it perfectly straight. But it's gonna be a little bit tricky, I think, making it perfectly straight and then painting it, and then you have to ship it without painting again. So we'll see how that goes. So this is obviously the bear. And then this is the raven. These ladies are the serpent clan. Look real good. Ready for action here. Take that out. And then at the very bottom, you have the board game itself in the plastic. All right, so that's pretty much it. And we have the bottom of the box right here. So the inserts that you would buy from, say, Broken Token or Feldar or, you know, Game Doctors, etc., you would take this out, and then all the wooden inserts would go in this area, and you would build from the bottom up. So this is the core game, and I'll see you, or I will transition into the next one, which I think what I'll do is I'll open the 5th player expansion next. Okay, so moving on to the 5th player expansion. This will allow you to play obviously with the 5th player. So let's open the box. So first we start with the rules for the 5 players game. Basically, you have a bit more cards, you know, to again accommodate the addition of a 5th player. No provinces are destroyed by Ragnarok because again, there's more players, so you're going to need a little bit more space for the action. That's about it. Pretty simple. So here's what you get. This is the Ram clan. So here are the extra cards for both ages 1, 2, and 3. And then you have, of course, the individual minifigures. Here you have the Warrior Type 1. These are the Ram Warriors, 4 of those. Type 2, you can see the ram's horns, very nicely done. You have their ship, and then you have the Ram leader. Nice and stylized, and their color is green. So here you have the token that has that goes around the glory track, and then you have the green bases. So pretty nice, pretty simple. In terms of the extra cards you get a couple more battle cards, and then I think you have the widespread quest where you have the most strength in 2 or more provinces. And it's mainly just giving you more cards to play, again, to accommodate the 5th player. So, no, definitely I like the Warriors, I think, a little bit better. These are pretty good. You know, it's a nice thought to have sort of like the long spear from the Ravens or the big totem poles to differentiate the leaders from the Warriors. But again, because this is plastic and not resin, these things tend to get bent pretty easily, and then they don't look so good. A weapon that looks like plastic, soft plastic to boot, isn't quite as good. And I really like kind of these types of miniatures where everything's a little bit tighter, and you know, they're less prone to bending, that type of thing. All right, so that's basically it. This is the 5th player expansion, and next we'll move on to the Mystics of Midgard. Okay, So we're kind of stepping up the pace a little bit. Next up is the Mystics of Midgard expansion. So this is adding the mystics or shamans to the game. They're basically like another type of, I guess, soldier or warrior or a monster. It's interesting, nice addition to the game. So you open this up, these are the instructions, and then you have the cards. This is the plastic cover. You have the cards that incorporate the mystics into the game, and they each have different powers depending on the card that you draw. But first you have to get the mystic first and all of that. So these are the cards, and then I've already put on the colored bases for each of them. So you can see this is the Raven Clan's mystic, the Snake Clan, the Wolf Clan, the Ram Clan, and the Bear Clan. Again, very nice, very nicely detailed. They're gonna look pretty amazing when they're painted up. A lot of detail, really good. Okay, so that's the mystics part. Now, it's missing two, right? Because two of the mystics are going to be in the Kickstarter Wild Boar expansion. So it's included there with their mystic card. That's all part of the Wild Boar clan expansion, which is a Kickstarter exclusive. So there's that. And then over here is the Gods of Asgard. It's a small box. The rules for the Gods of Asgard. This is the box cover right here. And here are the gods. There's Loki, Thor, Odin, Frigga. I get a little bit confused between these two. One of them is Heimdall, one of them is Tyr. Let's look for the one without an arm. Okay, pretty obvious that this one is Tyr, and this one is Heimdall right there. So the gods go on the various provinces, and then they change the rules within the province. So it's sort of a nice little, again, add-on. And these are the cards. And for some reason, some odd, inexplicable reason, they decided to make the cards for the Gods of Asgard edition or expansion like really big. There's like a tarot card size. So you then have to buy, get another size sleeve to protect that. And also makes it real awkward, of course, to incorporate it into inserts that can kind of handle all of the expansions. The gods, typically, these miniatures are really, really nice, very detailed. They're gonna, again, look very amazing when they're painted up by a professional. Now, again, Odin is complicated. They decided, of course, to make him sit on his throne, which, fine, that's reasonable. I mean, he is the All-Father, and it's a really, really neat miniature. It's got the throne with the two ravens kind of perched there. This spear is a big problem, and it's going to have to be nicely straightened out. Now, they had to make him two pieces because obviously, it makes it possible for you to actually paint the throne. But in doing that, again, it makes it really difficult after you've painted the miniature to properly protect him. You now have a situation where if you glue him into place, or if you say magnetize him and he magnetically sits here, for instance, then the problem is very difficult to secure him so he doesn't move around. It's not a simple problem, and for instance, the broken token insert never adequately solved it. They essentially clipped the throne. They were able to, of course, secure the throne with the little wooden spring system, but then poor Odin, looking like this, had to just be tossed unceremoniously into one of the boxes as a spare. And obviously, if you have been painted, and even worse, if you've taken the time to straighten the spear, that's a lot of real estate, and you obviously can't have him just kind of knocking around, moving around. The paint would chip off and all that. And of course, a very, very long spear like this, again, takes up a lot of real estate and it requires enough around to not damage that. So in essence, even though Odin is a god, he's pretty unique and he's pretty much has to be secured or protected in an insert, kind of like a monster, like one of the big miniature monsters. And there's a lot of machinations that are required to get that to happen. And most of it pretty much is going to have to be centered around, I think, magnetizing him to get him to stay in position magnetically rather than with the wood springs. So, just from a purely, this has nothing to do with gameplay, but just from a purely logistics point of view, Odin does present a lot of challenges if you want to, A, paint him, and then number 2, protect that paint. It's a bit of a challenge. Okay, so we've done the Gods of Asgard, the Mystics of Midgard over there, and we've done the 5th player expansion. So I think next up we will start working on the true Kickstarter exclusives now. And the true Kickstarter exclusives are going to be the Boar Clan expansion, the 5th player extras, and then of course the 4 exclusive monsters and a Hili, which is a promotion. And I'll save the game night kit for last. So on to the next unboxing. Okay, so here it is. This is the Kickstarter Boar Clan expansion. This is kind of like the major Kickstarter exclusive. And this can go for anywhere from $200 and on up lately. So, so much for that. I just opened it. So here we go. Let's take off the lid. So this is the rules for a 5-player game. I would imagine that it's essentially identical to the 5-player expansion. So we're gonna put that away. So here is what you're gonna get. Kind of interesting again how cool many or not sort of like split everything. I'm trying to find a way to show you a little bit better. So this is the Boar Clan. So here's the leader right there. Then there's the 2 mystics from the Boar Clan, and then here is the running warrior type 1, and then the standing warrior type 2. So you get the 4 + 4, 8, 9, and the ship, that's the 10, and then the 2 mystics. So these 2 are separated from the Mystics of Midgard, which has the 2 mystics for the other 5 clans, including the Ram clan. These are the 3D markers. I think this is the Saga. Here's the Doom, and then I think this is the first player. One of those is the Doom, one of those is the first player marker. I'm pretty sure this is the Saga marker. So they're 3D. You can paint them up, make them look good. Here's a token to move around the glory track, and then these are sort of like the 3-dimensional versions of the tokens that are normally just like a cardboard punch outs. So it's pretty classy, you can have that, and it just adds a little bit extra flavor to the game. Now, if you look at this, you'll notice that's missing the ram, right? Here's the bear, the serpent, the wild boar, the raven, and the wolf. So where is the ram? Well, it's not in the 5th player expansion, believe it or not. That comes with just a cardboard punch out. So to get the ram, believe it or not, you get it from the 5th player extras, which is a Kickstarter exclusive. And there you see in the back, you get these guys. So again, if you want to get everything, it's like a little scavenger hunt, a little treasure hunt. You gotta hunt for all of that. So those are all of the miniatures and the 3D tokens, which is really, really nice. Here are the purple ring bases for the minis and your monsters. And then here is the 1 card. This is the Mystic card for the Mystics for the Wild Boar. So there's 1 card here, and then this, of course, is the clan sheet. So there you have it. This is the Wild Boar Kickstarter expansion, which is a lot more than just the Wild Boar, because it gives you the shamans or the mystics from that clan and all of the 3D tokens, and then also the 3D Saga, Doom, and first player markers as well. Okay, we'll move on to the 5th player extras, which I already kind of showed you, and then the Hili Mystic Troll, Wolfman, Fenrir, and Mountain Giant monster exclusives. Those are all Kickstarters right on over here, and of course Hili is the promotion. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so now for the sort of the marathon last sprint, so to speak. So here's the 5th player extras. These and the rest of the monsters are all small boxes which you open and you slide out this way, okay? So here you have the Ram Clan 3D tokens that we were missing earlier from the Wild Boar expansion. So this completes the 5th player expansion. And again, this is the 5th player extra that goes with the 5th player expansion. And it has a couple of cards. These are the monster cards for another dwarf chieftain, another dark elf, and another soldier hell. So these are nice little extra miniatures, again, to supplement the 5th player edition. And this time the dark elf is a female versus the other dark elf, which was a male. And there's, again, nice variety between these characters and, of course, the original monsters of the core set. And these are the cards corresponding to that. So there you go. Next up, we have the Wolfman. Again, you slide the minifigure out, and the card is usually placed underneath the plastic. So here he is. Really nice. And then this guy's power, only monsters count their strength in a battle with this monster. It's a 2nd age card. Okay, so there's this. Here's Fenrir. He's a 1st ager. Nice picture. Ragnarok destroys Fenrir's province instead of the doomed one, unless it's Scourgersail. And here he is. Beautiful. Very, very nice and large. Here's the Mountain Giant. His card underneath. He counts as a leader. And then over here, the Mystic Troll. Your figure invades this monster's province for free. Here's this guy. And finally, last but not least, Mr. Hili, the new God of Asgard, and his card, which is, of course, the God card. Invading Hili's province with any figure by any means costs exactly 1 rage, regardless of any other cost modifications. All right, fair enough. Okay. So yeah, I bought these, again, not to collect, not to stay shrink wrapped, but that was pretty crazy. I mean, the last couple minutes, I basically opened up anywhere from $400 to $500 of Kickstarter exclusives to buy these separately. They're all pretty pricey now. I mean, you go as low as maybe 60 or 70, but I know that Hili is pretty rare. I mean, there's not a lot of him, and he goes for easily over 100. So I just basically opened up $400 to $500 worth of Kickstarter and promotional exclusives in a couple minutes. But, it's worth it because, again, we're going to paint all of these up eventually. All right, and then on the last one to do is the game night right over here along with the art book. Okay, guys, and finally to end our Blood Rage deboxing celebration, I guess, this is going to be the game night kit number 1. So I admit to being pretty curious when I opened this up myself, just to kind of see what's going on. It looks like it just has some boards and tokens and stuff like that. So, I was kind of thinking, how good could it be? I like the art. It's kind of nice, right from the Adrian Smith Art of Blood Rage book. So when you open it up, you get these 2 pieces of paper, first of all. So one is this game night I don't know what this is, pamphlet with the time and date. So I was like, okay, we'll put this on the side. Then here is like a letter from Cool Mini or Not to the store. It says, greetings, play retailer. Your customers are in for some fun in this box of an all-inclusive night of gaming. Game night kits are designed to support an engaging casual event where participants go home with exclusive prizes. Each one is made to support twice the maximum number of players for the base game, so let's get ready to play. So it tells you sort of what's in each one. You've got the welcome letter, a promotional poster, some of the age track boards, Valhalla boards, 10 clan boards, 2 each of Raven, Bear, Serpent, Wolf, and Ram, but not the Wild Boar. 4 first player horn tokens, which are exclusive to this set. And then 60 clan tokens, 12 each of Raven, Bear, Serpent, Wolf, and Ram. Then it gives you some suggestions about how to use the game night kit. Slowly scroll down so you can pause and read it if you should want to. Some advice on how to promote the game night. And then back here, I guess there's reward points and things like that. And this is all kind of business nitty-gritty for, again, the retailers and their relationship with CMON. So the first thing is the clan sheet, and oh my god, this thing is pretty awesome. If you look at the thickness, it's really, really thick here. You see that? So, I mean, this thing is thick cardboard, so definitely an improvement on the regular clan sheets as far as I'm concerned. Very, very heavy actually. And again, you're supposed to have 10 of them. And I think you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, that's about right. So these clan sheets, 2 each for the wolf, ram, serpent, bear, and raven. Very, very hard stock cardboard. So that's nice. And then over here, again, this is the age cardboard sheet, and again, very, very thick, very good quality, very, very good quality here, so that's nice. And then we have the Valhalla sheets here. Basically, the difference between these guys and what you get from the core game is the cardboard stock, nice and thick and heavy, so that's actually really nice. Here is the 4 horns. This is exclusive to this. And right here, tucked away in here, are all of these 3-dimensional tokens, which is really neat. I'm glad to see that. Those are a little bit extras. And these are basically, I think, the same as some of the Kickstarter exclusives, but there's quite a lot of these, 60. So what is that? 12 per clan? So this might be enough for actually 3 players, I think, right? Because you only get 4 of these usually per clan sheet. You only need 4, and there's 12 per. So it's really, really nice. It has some extras. So this is what the game night kit is. It's basically there to encourage multiple games of Blood Rage. I do admit to being a little bit confused. We got like 4 of these. Enough tokens for 3 players, but then there's only enough boards for 2 here, and of course you can't play any of these without the core game, the core game rules. So not too clear exactly how this is supposed to work. Maybe they're just supposed to be handed out as prizes for the various Blood Rage games. In which case I can see that. I mean, I can see these being pretty desirable prizes actually, for winning the game. So that's actually pretty cool. I'm glad I got this. And so we'll end finally with just maybe taking a look at the Art of Blood Rage book. So basically what this is, it's not too thick, it's pretty thin. And what this is essentially a collection of all the art that you find in all of the clan sheets, all of the cards, the monsters, and all the little pieces of art that's kind of spread throughout the game is then now collected in this one book. And so, that's kind of what you see. You can kind of flip through it. And again, this, for instance, you see this on the Gods of Asgard for Loki's card, but I get to see it instead in the book. And then here again, you have all of these different pictures that he drew. Remember, there's like, I think, over 100 cards. And so he drew a lot of artwork for these cards. This is, for instance, for the Sea Serpent card. Instead of seeing a little tiny card, you get to see it kind of blown up, full page, hardcover book. So again, really nice. And if you want to, for instance, use this as a reference for painting your miniatures, this is obviously a fantastic resource. But when you paint miniatures, obviously, or have a professionally painter for you, you're not bound by this particular color scheme. There's many different things you can do. And I have to say, I really enjoy Adrian Smith's art style, but some of the color palette, in my opinion, can be a little bit dreary. I understand it's Ragnarok and the world and Norse mythology is a little bit dark, but if you were to flip through all of the art, a lot of the black and whites, it is a little bit, I think, drab in terms of the color, and sometimes you might want your miniatures to pop a little bit. So I don't know. Maybe I would use this as a starting point when I talk to my painting team. This might be a starting point to draw inspiration, but maybe the actual paint, I like it to be a little bit, maybe vary a little bit less, again, drab and dreary, maybe pop a little bit more. So that's it, guys. When I stitch all of this together, hopefully, you'll be able to see me essentially go through the contents of every single one of these. Again, I hope it was worth it. Just watching some guy essentially open almost $1,000 worth of collectibles. But again, I'm buying this to not only to play, but to sort of admire, to display, and also to have them professionally painted. So you can't really do that if you have everything shrink wrapped. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed all of that. And until next time, I think the next Blood Rage video I will make won't be for quite a while, just because there won't be anything new to show until the miniatures are painted. And that's going to take a while. There's 95 of them. And also, it's associated 3D tokens and all that. I wanted all the little ones, the little things painted as well. So it's well over 100 pieces and 95 miniatures for sure. So I think the next Blood Rage video will be showing that completed, and that won't be for a while, probably a couple months to get all that work done. But until then, I hope you enjoyed at least the initial description of the collection, and then the unboxing and examination of the contents, and take care.